Today's topic is the Adapter2PRO, which is a communicator for intruder alarm systems. I will talk about the key functions of the device, the product models, and the hardware, and then we'll go through the mobile application and the programming as well. The application areas for this product are the following. The Adapter2 can be used as a universal communicator for burglar alarm systems that provides solution for reporting to remote monitoring station. It can also be used, with any alarm control panel which has a built-in landline communicator and supports the Adapter2PRO contact ID protocol. At the same time, it provides solution for users to receive notifications about up to all events of their alarm system. You can also configure the device as a phone line adapter to substitute or replace a hardwired phone line, since it enables you to make transparent calls if a hardwired telephone is connected to its simulated phone line output. Thanks to its transparent serial port, it can also be used as an interface for remote management over the internet of equipments which have a serial port, such as food or soft drink vending machines or parking pay machines. The automatic dialing function makes it possible to use the Adapter2 as an emergency call device for older people or in elevators. Let's see the product models. A standard and a Pro variant is available. The difference between these two is that the Pro variant comes with the mobile application, and it also supports IP cameras, so you can associate IP cameras with events, and it can also send push messages and emails. The standard variant does not have a mobile application, so you can use it only with calls and SMS messages and with the reporting to the monitoring station. A 2G, 3G, 4G, and a Wi-Fi model is available of each. There is no difference between the 2G, 3G, and 4G variant with regard to the functions. So the difference is only the built-in modem. The Wi-Fi variant can work with the Wi-Fi only. So this does not require a SIM card because it does not have a built-in modem. But therefore, the functions related to SMS sending and calls are not available in this model. The device has a USB port, which you can use to program the device locally through USB and for firmware update. It has an RS-232 port, which you can use to connect the alarm control panel and to program the alarm control panel remotely, or, for example, to send and receive data from any equipment which has an RS-232 port. The antenna connector is for connecting the GSM antenna. This is the SIM card bay where you can install the SIM card, and the status LED, which shows the status of the device. The system connector, where you can connect the DC voltage. It works with 12 to 24 volts, but it can support an over voltage up to 30 volts DC. It has a line output, This is a standard phone line simulated from the GSM system. So it provides a 48 volts standard line here. You can connect this to the alarm control panel in order to receive the communication from the alarm system. It has 4 contact inputs, which you can use to generate custom messages. The contacts should be connected between the given input and the V- terminal. The contact can be normally open or normally closed. This can be configured separately in the device. And it has a dry contact relay output, which you can control from the mobile app or by any event in the device. The device itself can be installed in the box of the alarm control panel, but the antenna should be installed outside the box if the given box is a metal box. On our website, you can find the latest manual, the software, and the latest firmware for the device. It is always recommended to use the latest versions available because we continuously develop our devices and improve them and correct problems if there are in the device. You can select earlier versions from this drop-down menu here if necessary for some reason. So let's see the key functions of the device. As I have mentioned, this is a communicator with emulated phone line output and contact inputs. It sends reports to the central monitoring station over the internet to up to 4 IP addresses and supports the CADC09, the Telmon, and the text protocol. The last 2 are our custom protocols. These are encrypted protocols which work with our receivers, that is the Telmon or the text server. The CADC09 protocol works with any receiver which supports this standard protocol. The device reports the state of its 4 configurable normally open and normally closed contact inputs to central monitoring station and to mobile devices at the same time. Contact ID codes can be freely configured for each input event and service event with partition and zone number. It has 1 relay output, which you can control using the mobile application. You can use this to arm and disarm the alarm system, for example. On the other hand, you can configure the output for an output control for any event available in the Adapter2 and also for events received from the alarm system. SMS and push notification sending with custom messages can be configured for each event, including the events of the alarm system, and calls can also be configured with custom voice messages which you can upload from file. The system can be used with up to 4 mobile devices which can be registered easily using a QR code. The on-with camera support enables you to associate up to 4 IP cameras with any event, and the pictures of the associated camera can be viewed in the mobile app when the given event occurs. The device is equipped with a transparent serial port, which, as I have mentioned, you can use to program the connected alarm system remotely over the internet. Depending on the alarm system, a level driver adapter might be needed. This level driver adapter is available in our product range. You can find it here in the products and E-sheet level driver interface. This is it. This can interface between RS-232, TTL, and USB port, and you can set the path of interfacing using the jumpers on the device. Normally, when you use it, for example, with a Paradox alarm control panel, you have to connect the TTL port to the panel because it has a 5-volt TTL output, and the RS-232 should be connected to the Adapter2. You can also use this device to program the given alarm control panel locally through USB by changing the jumpers to interface between the USB and the TTL port. But of course, you can also use it for any other task to interface, for example, between RS-232 and USB if necessary for some equipment. Special cables are also available for some alarm control panels. For example, for the Paradox panel, we have the special cable, and for the Premier panel, and also for the DSC panel, but this one does not require the level driver interface. So you can use this wire to connect the adapter directly to the DSC panel. This figure shows how to connect the level driver interface to a Paradox panel, for example, and to the adapter. So the RS-232 should be connected, and the special cable between the panel and the level driver interface. And of course, the jumpers should be set to interface between the RS-232 and TTL, which is this figure here. Okay, for the RS-232, you have to connect the RX to TX and TX to RX, so read to transmit and transmit to read, and GND to GND. Also here in the product manual, you can find the necessary settings for the given type of alarm control panel, and also the settings necessary in the software of the given alarm system. It will also show you how to initiate the connection. And this figure shows you how to connect the adapter to alarm control panels which have an RS-232 port. So you can connect them directly using a cable. This figure shows the connection for the DSC panel. Okay. Let me show you the devices which I will use for the presentation today. For this, I will share the screen of my phone and I will start the camera. So here it is. I will use a Paradox alarm control panel for which I have configured two inputs, a fire alarm input and a burglar alarm input. I have configured one of the outputs to arm and disarm the system using this button here, and also using the output, the relay output of the Adapter2. So I can control that output from the mobile app, and I can arm and disarm the system through this input, which is configured as a key switch input. I have also connected a PGM output, a programmable output of the alarm control panel to input number 1. Here, I don't know if you can see, it's the red thin wire, to input number 1 of the adapter. And I have programmed the alarm control panel to give a signal when it is armed. So I can see in the mobile application when the system is armed and disarmed, and the adapter is also able to send a push message on arming and disarming. Of course, we could do that also from the communication of the alarm control panel, but I think that this solution is much faster, and we can also see the status of the partition on the input. The line input of the alarm control panel, the phone line input, is also connected to the phone line output of the adapter 2. And the supply voltage comes from the TEL power supply. So this is a special power supply designed by TEL, which can replace the transformer of the system. So it has a 16-volt AC output, which can be used to give a power supply to the alarm control panel. It has a DC output for the adapter or IP bridge or any other TEL device. And also the battery wires can be connected to the power supply, and from the power supply to the battery. So when there is a normal operation, the alarm control panel can charge the battery and can use the battery. And when there is a mains loss, in that case, the power supply will switch the battery automatically to the adapter as well. So the battery will still be connected to the alarm system and will supply the alarm system, but through the power supply, it will also be connected to the adapter 2. And this here is the level driver interface necessary for this type of alarm control panel with the special cable connected. So this is the TTL serial port of the panel connected to the TTL port of the level driver interface, and the RS-232 of the level driver interface is connected to the RS-232 of the adapter 2. And of course, the GSM antenna is also connected to the adapter 2. And now I'm also using the USB connection through which I will show you the options in the software. Okay, let's see how this system works with the mobile application. The mobile application is available for iOS and Android platform in the App Store and on Google Play, so you can download it. It is called the TEL Control Center, and it's this one on the top right corner. Now I have 4 devices registered here, and the adapter which I will show you today is this one on the left side. So we have to select the adapter, and here we can see the status of the inputs and the output of the given adapter. As I have mentioned, I have configured input number 1 to show the partition status, and that's why the name is partition status here. And I will use the output for arming and disarming through the key switch input of the alarm control panel. Here at the top, you can see some status information. You can see that the device is online or offline, the current GSM signal, and the value of the supply voltage, the name of the device, and the firmware version number, and the IP address received by the given SIM card, which is installed in the adapter 2. So let's see how it works. If we want to arm the system, we just have to press this button here. It will activate the output for 1 second, and we can see that the partition status is armed, and we have received the push message as well. Now we can see the push messages here in this menu, which we can open using the bell icon. So that was the latest push message, partition armed. Okay, the same way we can disarm the system. We can see that the input is inactive now, and partition disarmed message has been received. Now, if we arm the system back, we can see that here in the Telmon receiver, so this is the interface of our Telmon receiver, and I've also configured the adapter 2 to send reports to this receiver. It will use this account ID 2111. So these are the latest events: key switch open, key switch close, which is the disarming and arming. So now the system is armed. And if we generate an alarm, let it be a fire alarm. We will receive the reports here. So see fire zone 3 and also the push message. Now, let me turn off the alarm system. So the push message has also been received. Fire alarm, this is the event name. The production section is the partition, and the production line smoke detector is the name of the zone. So this is the name of the event, the partition, and zone. And also the push message about disarming. Now, if we tap on this message, it will open the application, and if there is a camera associated with the given event, the application will automatically offer to open the camera. So if we press yes, then the camera picture will be opened, and we can see the production line at TEL. If you rotate the phone, you can see the same picture in full screen. These are our pick and place machines, which are producing, for example, the Adapter2PRO. Okay, now let's see arming and the burglar alarm. Of course, we can also use the mobile application to disarm the system. And there it is, the burglar alarm, zone 4, partition 1, and the push message, burglar alarm, production section, which is the partition, and the production line motion detector is the zone. And we can open the camera, which is associated with this event. So here at the top, we can check the push messages which we have received. The messages to which the camera was associated will have this icon here. So if you press on this icon, the camera will be open. Here at the bottom, you have the status and the event log menu. The status is this page which you can see now. And if you choose the event log, this will show all the events which have passed through the adapter 2. These one named as none are events for which we have not configured any messages to be sent to users. So these events are only sent to the monitoring station. For example, that's the key switch open, the cancel. So these events are only sent to the monitoring station. But if you open these events, you can see the details, such as the user ID, the event code itself, partition number, and the zone number which belongs to the given event. So, for example, it's 3130. This is a burglar alarm restore event, which is this one here. R or 3130. That's the same. Okay, for alarms, you can see the same details, and partition disarmed and partition armed. This is an input event. So this is generated by the input, but it also has a contact ID code, and it is also sent to the monitoring station. Here in the menu on the left side, you can add a new device using the QR code. We will see this later. And you can change the device settings. So we have 4 devices registered. You have to select the device which you want to edit. You can change the icon of the device. You can change the name if you want. You can also delete the device here. And here you can change the names of the inputs and the name of the output. And you can also configure the output to be used with a toggle switch, so you can turn on and off the output in this case. Or if this option is turned on, it will be used with an impulse control, for which you can select how long the given input should stay activated. Let's see how we can program this device. We have a programming software for Windows platform, which you can use to program the device. The software has some menu sections here. The first section is for the connection. So this is the connection section, the device settings. So these are the settings of the adapter 2. The settings related to the alarm control panel. So here you can configure the events received from the alarm control panel, and the device status section with the status and event logs and debug logs, and the software settings section where you can configure the settings of the software itself. You can connect to the device using two passwords. There is an admin and a super admin password. By default, only the super admin password is configured, which is 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you want to use the admin password as well, you have to configure that separately. You can connect to the device after entering the given password here. You can use a USB connection, or you can connect over the internet with up to 4 connecting modes. So through the internet, you can connect through MVP server, through a Telmon receiver, through the cloud, or directly to the SIM card of the given device. But this requires that the given SIM card belongs to a private APN, and you can connect to the given SIM card with another SIM card from the same APN, so which belongs to the same APN. And your computer should be also in the same private APN. So you can do that by connecting through a router which belongs to the same APN, for example, which uses a SIM card that belongs to the same private APN, or by using a modem with a SIM card that belongs to the same private APN. And also, it is necessary that the SIM card installed in the Adapter2 is using a static IP address. Because if the IP address keeps changing, in that case, you will not be able to enter a static IP here. Okay, the cloud connection can be used with the device if the cloud usage is enabled in the settings. I will talk about that a little bit later. And the Telmon and TEX connection can be used if the given device connects to a Telmon or to a TEX MVP server for sending reports to a monitoring station. For the USB connection, you need a USB AV cable connected directly between the PC and the device. You have an offline device selector option here. You can use this to select a given device model, and in that case, the software will show you the settings options of the given device model. So you can configure the settings offline, then you can save the settings to file. You can load the settings from file later when you already have the device, and you can load the settings into the device. Okay, so in order to connect to the device, we have to enter the password, which is now 1, 2, 3, and 4, and hit the Enter key or press the Connect button. Now I will press the Connect button. And we can see that we are connected with a super level admin access. So it was the super admin password. You can change the super admin password here in this section, or create a new admin password here in this section. The difference between the admin and the super admin is that the super admin can access all the settings, while the admin cannot access the settings related to identifiers of the device, such as the user identifier, SIA identifier, and so on. So we cannot change identifiers related to the monitoring station. Using this button, you can restart the device if necessary for some reason, and with this one, you can restore the factory default settings if it is not locked in the device. You have a setting for that, which I will talk about later. So you can lock the device, and in that case, the factory default settings cannot be restored easily. The device register can be used to register your devices which you have configured, and this will help you when you want to connect to a device remotely. In order to register a device, just click on the Add New button, add a name to the device. It will read automatically the SIM identifier and the identifiers necessary for connecting to the device if the device is connected through USB and the SIM card is also inserted. So we see that the cloud connection is already configured because it's free. Only the identifier is necessary for this, which has been read. For the peer-to-peer connection, it has read the IP address of the SIM card, but the SIM card which I am using does not have a static IP, so I will delete this now because we can't use this type of connection. But we can configure a telephone connection because, as you have seen, the device is configured to send reports to the telephone receiver. For this, we need the IP address of the given receiver and the communication port number and the device ID. Click Save, and this will be saved in the software. This information is stored on the PC where the software is installed, so this is not stored in the device. Now, if we disconnect from USB and we want to connect through the cloud, for example, the only thing we have to do is just select the device which we have registered. Here we can see that the telephone and the cloud option has been configured, so these are available for remote connecting to the device. Okay, we have to enter the same password, 1, 2, 3, and 4 now because we haven't changed that, and click on the Connect button. And we are connected to the device over the internet using the cloud service. So now you can read the settings, change the settings, and write the settings the same way as when you are connected through USB. When we want to connect through the receiver, we have to select the device. It will automatically fill in the necessary information which we have already provided in the device register. We need the password and click on the Connect button. Now here we have to wait until the device sends a supervision message or any other message to the receiver, because it does not keep the connection continuously with the receiver. After it sends a message, it closes the TCP session, so it has no connection. Now you can see the receiver might have received a supervision message from the device, and we are successfully connected now through the telephone receiver to the device. So if you configure the supervision message to be sent very rare, in that case, you have to wait more for the connection. Okay, let's go back to the USB connection. And let's see how we can manage the settings in the device. So as I have mentioned, the settings are found here in this menu group and here in this menu group. If we want to change the settings, first we have to read the settings from the device using this button. So even if it's a very new device, it has some default settings which we have to read first in the software. Okay, now the settings are read. We can change any settings in the menus, and then we have to write back the changes in the device in order to apply them. With this button, you can change the firmware. You can update the firmware of the device if necessary, but we also have another application for that, which is much faster than this option here. So you can use that for upgrading the firmware. You can download that from our website. As I have mentioned, you can save and load the settings to and from file with these options here. Now, the most important settings which are necessary to the device in operation are the APN. This is the access point name, which is used for connecting to the internet. The APN belongs to the SIM card, and you can get the APN from the mobile service provider where you have purchased the SIM card. Sometimes a username and password is also required. If the given service provider requires this, it will supply this information together with the SIM card. If you want, you can enter the phone number of the SIM card, but this is not used. It's just an informative data. You can lock the device with that SIM card if necessary. In this case, the device will read the ICC ID of the given SIM card, and will not work with any other SIM card until you enter here and change this back to disabled. If you want to lock the SIM card with a PIN code, just enable PIN code request using a mobile phone on the SIM card and then enter the PIN code here in this section. This is where you can enable and disable cloud usage. If cloud usage is enabled, you can use the device with the mobile application, since the mobile application connects to the device over the cloud. Cloud usage uses about 12 megabytes of data per month. This is because it sends supervision messages in order to keep the continuous connection with the cloud. Here in this section, you can enter the identifiers, which is the user account ID. This is used by the device to send reports to the monitoring station. It can send reports about its input events, service events, custom events, and the events received from the alarm control panel are sent with the user account ID configured in the alarm control panel. So this can be different. If you want, you can enter here an account ID which will be replaced with the user account ID configured in the alarm control panel. So, for example, if you can't access the settings of the given alarm control panel, but you want to change the user account ID, you can do it here in this section. So if you enter a user account ID here, this user account ID will be used when sending reports from the alarm control panel to the monitoring station. It will automatically replace the ID in the messages. Group ID and device ID are used only for the text and VP system, so this should not be used otherwise. And the CIA user account ID is used if you are using the CIDC09 protocol. The device will send the supervision messages to the receiver using the ID entered in this section. The serial port settings are used to configure the settings of the transparent serial port, the baud rate, the parity, and the stop bits. This should be configured in accordance with the requirements of the given alarm control panel or equipment to which the given port is connected. So you have to check what values the given alarm control panel or equipment is using and configure the same parameters here for the serial port. The device can set the system time, which is necessary for the logs here, from NTP servers, which you can configure here in this section, or it can also set the system time from the cloud if the cloud usage is enabled, or from one of the receivers configured for reporting. Time zone is also necessary for setting the system time. Now, this is one of the most important settings here, the operating mode used upon dialing a number via the simulated phone line. So what is this good for? When a connected alarm control panel dials a number, with this setting, you can configure the behavior of the Adapter2. What to do when the alarm control panel dials a number on the simulated line input. The first option, start a GSM voice call. So in this case, the Adapter2 will make a transparent voice call, so it will dial the same number through the GSM system and will make a call. If the call is received on the other side, of course, speech communication is possible between the two sides. Receive and process alarm system messages upon dialing the specified numbers, and for other numbers, start a GSM voice call. Now, if you select this option and you enter a phone number here, which will be dialed by the alarm control panel, in that case, the Adapter2 will process the given message and will send to monitoring station, or will generate SMS sending, push message sending, email sending, or what is configured in the device for the given message. If the alarm control panel dials a different number which is not specified in these fields, in that case, the adapter will start a transparent voice call. For example, this can be used in the alarm control panel to configure two phone numbers, one for reporting over the internet to CMS, and the other one for backup reporting to a receiver, to a landline receiver, in case that the servers, for example, are not available. And the third one, receive and process alarm system messages upon any number dialed. So if, for example, you can't access the settings in the alarm control panel because it is locked, and you still want to install the adapter and let it communicate to the CMS, you can choose this option. So no matter what number is dialed by the alarm control panel, the Adapter2 will process the messages and will send the reports to the CMS, and SMS calls and push messages or emails as configured in the Adapter2. For the first two options, you have an automatic dialing option here. This can be used, for example, for emergency calls. When a telephone is connected to the line input and you pick up the receiver, the device will dial automatically the number entered in this section but only after a delay, which you can configure here. So if 0 seconds is configured, it will dial the number immediately, but you can configure a delay in order to be able to use the device with the alarm control panel and to use this option as well. What will happen if you configure a delay here? Let's say 5 seconds. When the alarm control panel dials a number, the device will wait 5 seconds, and if there is any communication thereafter, it will not dial this number which you have configured here, so it will omit this setting. But if there is no communication, in that case, after 5 minutes, it will dial this number here. So if the alarm control panel is connected to a hardwired telephone as well, and the receiver is picked up, after 5 seconds, the adapter can dial this number. Here in this section, you can configure how to handle incoming calls from unknown phone numbers. Well, unknown phone numbers are phone numbers received from private numbers, so when there is no caller ID in the call, or from phone numbers which are not found in the settings of the device, so it's not a user phone number. You can reject these calls or forward them to the simulated phone line. So in that case, there will be a ring on the line, and if there is a telephone connected and the receiver is picked up, communication is possible between the two sides. In the SMS forwarding phone number field, you can configure a phone number to which the given device will forward messages received on its SIM card. You can also select the option to forward messages received from users. So you can configure some commands which can be used by SMS, which will generate actions in the device. And if you want, you can also forward these messages, because by default, the device will not forward messages received from user phone numbers configured in the device. And with these limitations, you can limit SMS forwarding and alarm SMS sending or calls made by the device if necessary. Here in the reporting channels menu, you can configure the receivers. Up to 4 receivers can be configured. You can add a name to the receiver, the IP address is necessary, the communication port, and the protocol, which can be text, CIP, DC09, or the Telmon protocol, depending on the type of the receiver which you are using. For the DC09 protocol, you can also turn on and off supervision message sending if necessary. Of course, this is not recommended, but if it is necessary for some reason, you can do that. Here you can configure the supervision message interval. So this will send supervision message by 90 seconds to the receiver. And in this section, you can configure whether the receiver sends the timestamp in UTC or in local time. This is necessary for the system time setting in the device. And you can also configure the network protocols to use TCP or UDP. UDP allows for less data usage, but TCP is much more secure protocol. So we recommend using the TCP. For the DC09 protocol, you also can use an encryption key. So you can encrypt the communication between the adapter 2 and the given receiver. If you use an encryption key, you have to use the same on the receiver side in order to be able to decrypt the given messages. And sending each message in a new session is required by some receivers. So if your receiver requires this option, just enable it. So up to 4 receivers, and then in the notification templates menu, you can configure which receiver should be the primary, which should be the backup, and what should be the order of reporting. So which should be the first, second, third, and fourth. So you don't have to mind about that here. You just have to configure the receivers, and you can configure the priorities and the order here in the notification template settings. SMS sending as a backup. So this is an option for monitoring stations. You can enter one phone number here to which the device can send the reports of the alarm system by SMS in case that report sending fails to all receivers. You can enter a particular message here, or, for example, you can use variables. For example, $N P and $C. In this case, the adapter 2 will automatically replace these variables with the name, partition, and zone number of the given event which has been received from the alarm panel. The names can be configured here in the alarm events section. Four telephone numbers can be configured for users for receiving SMS messages and calls from the adapter 2 with regard to events generated in the adapter 2 or events received from the alarm control panel. And in this section, you can configure how to acknowledge a call. So if the given user receives a call, if you select this option, accept call to acknowledge, it means that the call should be accepted. Otherwise, the adapter will call again the same number until they receive the given call. Reject or accept the call. If the call is either accepted or rejected, the given event will be acknowledged. With this option, the star button should be pressed in order to acknowledge the call. So the call should be accepted anyway, and the star button should be also pressed. And the last one is star button is necessary, but there is an option to stop notification to further phone numbers using the hash button. So if you accept the call and press the hash button, this will automatically acknowledge the given event and will stop notification to further phone numbers. In this section, you can configure what to do when a call is received from the given user, to forward these calls to the simulated line and make available communication, or to reject these calls. When a call is received from any phone number, service events are generated depending on the number from which the given call is received. We will see that in the service events section. And 4 email addresses can be configured with a name where the Adapter2 can send reports about events by email. Now let's see the notification templates. There are 2 templates by default. The default template is associated with all events in the device. So if you do not change any settings here, the device will send reports to the monitoring station according to the settings of the default template. In the default template, the first receiver is the primary and all others are backup. So if only the primary receiver will be notified, but if sending fails to the primary, then it will try to send to the first backup, second, third, and so on. And also backup reporting via SMS is available. So if sending to all receivers fail, in that case, it will send the report by SMS to the phone number configured here in the reporting channels menu. Okay, this one, the empty, means that the given event should not be sent at all to a monitoring station. So if this template is associated with an event, the given event will not be sent to the monitoring station, but you can configure the given event to send an SMS, push message, email, or make a call. Of course, you can add new templates as well. So you can make, for example, if you have 4 receivers, you can make 2 primary and 2 backup, or make all primary if necessary. In that case, the given event will be sent to all receivers. And of course, you can change the reporting order here. In the input section, you can configure the inputs. So normally open and normally close option is available for each input, and the sensitivity for activation and restore. This is available in milliseconds, seconds, minutes, and hours. The sensitivity means how long the given input should be activated in order to generate an event, and the restore sensitivity means how long it should be deactivated in order to generate a restore event. Here in the input settings menu, you can input events menu, you can configure the events generated by the inputs. Now, as you can see, I'm using 3 events here, about which I have received push messages in the application. I'm using input number 1 with new event and restore. So activation and deactivation of input number 1. So here the PGM output of the panel is connected, and we'll send the partition armed and disarmed messages. So here you can add a name to the event, which you can't change thereafter. That's why it is not available now. So you can't change the name after you have registered the event. You can select which input you want to use, whether it should be the new event or the restore event. For each event, you can configure an event code, a partition, and a zone number for sending to the monitoring station. And you can choose the notification template. Now you see I have chosen the empty template, so this event will not be sent to the monitoring station. This event will only generate the actions set here below. For the event code, it is very easy to find the event code which you want to use using this search tool here. You can search for events by event name, for example, burglary. That's it, 130. Or you can also search by event code. Say 301, it's AC loss. Okay. What other actions are available for an input event? The input can also control the output with different modes. There is a monostable mode where you can configure how long the given output should be activated when the input event occurs. This is available in milliseconds, seconds, minutes, hours. There is a bistable on, bistable off, which means toggle on, toggle off, so permanent on and off. You can do a state change, so if the output was off, it will turn on. If the output was on, it will turn off. And also pulse series is available. You can configure up to 3 pulse series, where you can configure how long the given output should stay on, then how long it should stay off, how many times to repeat this, and how much to wait between repetitions. In this section, you can configure a voice call for the given event to the phone numbers which you have configured here in the reporting channels menu. So to these 4 phone numbers. The given event can make a call to 1 or even more phone numbers if necessary. And you can select a voice message from 15 audio messages, which you can upload from file here in the voice messages section. So you have 15 voice message slots here. And for example, if I want audio 4 to upload, just select upload audio file. You can still change the slot here if you want, and you can upload the audio file in MP3 and WAV format. Only the first 10 seconds of the audio file will be used, so please consider this when creating your voice messages. After 10 seconds, the given audio file, the message after 10 seconds will be deleted automatically. And with this button, you can also delete a voice message from the device if necessary. And you can rename the voice messages here in this section by double-clicking or clicking on the Edit button. Now let's go back to the input events. And let's see what other options we have. We have text-based notifications, SMS, push notification, and email notification. So you can send SMS to up to 4 phone numbers, which are the same phone numbers configured in the reporting channels menu. You can send push notification up to 4 devices. So maximum of 4 devices can be registered, which are using the mobile application. And you can send email to up to 4 email addresses, which you can also configure in the reporting channels menu. The message for each will be the same, which you configure here in the message field. If you have also configured a camera, you can select a camera for the given event. So when the given event occurs and the push notification is sent to one of the devices, the application will automatically offer viewing the camera on that device. These options are available for all events in the Adapter2, which we will see later, of course. So you can use up to 4 inputs here. So now I'm using only 2 inputs. For input 1, I'm using the new and restore event. And for input 2, I'm using only the new event. I'm using input 2 to send an emergency alarm by push notification to one of the registered devices. And you can see notification template is default, so this event will also be sent to the monitoring station using this event code from zone 2. This event code is a panic, I think. Yes, it's a panic. Okay, and the camera is also associated with this event. Now let me show you how this works. So here I have a push button on input 2, and if I press the button, then a push message is received and also a panic alarm is sent to the monitoring station. Okay, if we tap on that event, since a camera is also associated with the given event, the application will offer viewing the camera. So you can generate any custom event with these inputs. To use also input number 3 and number 4, click on Add New, add a name to the given event, and select input number 3 or input number 4, the new or the restore event, and you can configure the event the same way as I have shown you before. Service events. Service events are generated automatically by the Adapter2. These are used to send notifications about, for example, DC, low voltage, or data usage limit. So basically technical events generated in the device. In order to add a service event, you can use the new button, add a name to the event, and select the event which you want to use from the list. So there is the GSM error, the mobile internet error. For each you have the new and restore event. The low supply voltage error, for which you can configure the low voltage level and the restore level. And of course, for each you can configure the same parameters which you have seen at the input event. So output control, voice call, and text-based notifications, and also reporting to monitoring station. We have added a default event code for each service event, but you can change that if you want. So basically, that's configured. I think it's okay, but if you need other code, you can change. The device can also generate a service event when the output is controlled from the mobile application. So, for example, when I arm and disarm the system, this event will be generated, and if you want, you can make a call from this event or send text notifications to others, or even a report to the monitoring station. So these are for the 4 mobile devices. And next is the incoming calls from the 4 users with identification. So when the caller ID is presented and the device can identify the phone number, these events will be generated. For example, with this event, when you make a call, and if you have configured here in the reporting channels for the given phone number to be rejected if a call is made from that number, in that case, here you can configure an output control. So the device will reject the call, but it will activate the output, or can also generate other notifications if necessary from that call. The same for incoming calls from unknown number. There is also a periodic test report for which you can configure the interval of sending and the time of day. And data usage limits. There are 2 data usage limits which you can configure. So it will generate an event when data usage reached 10 megabytes, and another event when data usage has reached 20 megabytes in this case. And of course, it will send the given event to the monitoring station, or can send SMS or a push notification from that event to warn you that the given data usage limit has been reached. It can also generate an event when you change any settings in the device, and it also generates events about the limits. So when the limits are reached, SMS sending, SMS forwarding, and call limit reached, which you have configured here in the general settings menu. Next is the custom events. Now here you can configure commands which you can send by SMS to the device, and in that case the device will generate the given event and will perform the actions associated with the given event. As an example, I have configured 3 custom events here. With the first one, if I send the text message on 20 to the device by SMS, in that case, the device will activate the output for, let's see, that should be 20 minutes. Okay, so it will activate the output for 20 minutes. You can use this, for example, to turn on lights for 20 minutes. Now with the next one, if you send only the on text message, in that case, it will turn the output on permanently. So with this, you can turn on, and with the next one, you can turn off the given output. So this command is up to you. You can enter any command here, which you can use in the SMS. Of course, with this, you can also generate reports to the monitoring station, or message sending or call, making calls to phone numbers. In this section, you can configure the 4 IP cameras. You need the links from the cameras, which you can obtain from the software of the given camera, or by using the software developed by TEL for this purpose. This software will detect the cameras which are installed in the same local area network as the PC on which this software is running. So when you click on detect cameras, it will scan the given local network, and now it has found 2 cameras. One of them is locked with a username and password. We can access the data if we enter the username and the password, and the other one is not locked, so we can see that there are 2 profiles. One is a high resolution profile and a lower resolution profile. And here you can see the stream and the snapshot URLs, which you can copy for each profile using the notes icon next to the URL. So if you want to use the high resolution stream URL, just click on this icon here, to copy to clipboard, and go back here and paste. Okay, so here you can find the local IP address of the given camera, but in order to use the camera with a mobile application from the public internet, you need to do a port forward through the router and replace this IP address with the static IP of the given router, or if you don't have a static IP, you can use a DIN DNS service, which you have to register and configure in the router separately. In that case, of course, you have to enter the DIN DNS name here and the port number, which where you have forwarded the given service. Okay. I have talked about voice messages. Here in the admin access menu, you can select options which the admin can access. So the ones which are selected can be accessed by the admin user, so who is using the admin code to log in into the device. And if you disable these, in that case, the admin user will not be able to change these in the settings. So this can refer to reporting channels, to the server data, to identifiers, and to SIM card settings. In the advanced settings menu, here in the volume section, you can configure the volume of the signals in a DTMF call. So this refers to DTMF calls when an alarm control panel tries to send a report by call and through DC05 DTMF based protocol. So with the microphone option, you can change the contact ID signal level, and with the speaker option, you can change the handshake signal level. So this can be used when you have problems with reporting to a landline receiver, because the signal might be too low, it might be too high, so in that case you can adjust the signal here. If you're using a multi-SIM SIM card, you can select the preferred operator in this section after you have started the operator search with this button. So in this case, the device will restart, will search for operators, and will list the available operators here in this drop-down menu, where you can select the preferred operator thereafter. With this option, you can log the device on 2G, 3G, or 4G, depending on the device model. Of course, for the 3G model, you will not have the 4G option, for example. You can use this if you have communication problems. So if if there is some interference and therefore the device changes from 3G to 4G or 2G to 3G very frequently, which might cause a delay in communication. In that case, you can lock the device on a network which is the most stable. Otherwise, it is recommended to use the automatic selection. And here with this option, you can lock the device so the default factory settings cannot be restored if this option is set. So if it's locked, in that case, first you have to log in with a superadmin password, change this back to unlocked, and thereafter you can do factory reset using this button. Otherwise, this will not work. So you can protect your settings with this option here. And now the alarm system settings. Here in this section, you can filter the events received from the alarm control panel. As you can see, I have configured 3 filters here. If you don't configure anything here, in that case, all events will be sent to the monitoring station using the default template, and none of the events will be sent to any user. So if you want to send messages to user from events reported by the alarm system, you have to filter the events and configure them here in this section. Now let's see the first one. It's the alarm event. This will filter all alarm events coming from the alarm system. How does it do that? This will mean all events that start with 1, no matter what the other numbers are. So if it starts with 1, it means that this is an alarm event. So each alarm event starts with 1. The trouble events, for example, start with number 3. I have also configured a filter for that. So all that start with number 3 are trouble events and will be reported via push notification, but also will be reported to the CMS. Okay, so the same for alarm events will be reported by push notification to one of the devices and to CMS using the default template. And what will the given event generate? What message? It will generate the message received from the alarm control panel, and it will send the name, the partition number, and the zone number of the given event, which I have configured. So let's return a little bit to the mobile application. And let's see a message. For example, this one. You can see the name of the event, the name of the partition, and the name of the given zone. So this is done using these variables. So the first one is the name, the partition, and the zone. Okay, but where does the name come from? The name you can configure here in these menus separately. So the event name comes from this section here. We have a list of all events here. where you can find the contact ID event code, the new event name, and the restore event name. You can also change that if you want. So you can enter any name here that you want for the given contact ID code. And in that case, the given name will be sent when the alarm control panel reports the given contact ID event code. Okay, so for the $CN, the name is taken from this section. For the partition, you can configure the partitions here. I have configured 3 partitions. So if the alarm control panel sends 01, the partition name will be this. So 01 will be automatically replaced by the adapter2 with this name in the message. So this stands for $P variable, and the zone, I have configured 5 zones, and what we have seen here is the production line motion detector. It's this one, so it was zone number 4, replaced with this name. And this uses the variable $Z. If we have, for example, so if we have an arming and disarming by user, okay, first is the push notification received from the input, and then when the alarm system communicates the given event, we will receive armed by user, which partition and which username. So the partition is the production section, which we can see here. It was partition number 1. And the user is Frank, which I have configured here in the username section, is this one because the alarm system has reported the user number 001. We can also find that in the event monitoring section. So here we can see the event logs. We can download last 10, 20, or all events if we press on this button. And yeah, this is it. So arming and disarming event 401, and it was partition 1 and zone number 1. That is user number 1. So that's why the partition is production section and the user name is Frank. Okay, but how does the adapter know whether to use the zone name or the username? Because it's in the same place. So as you can see, sorry, here, as you can see, the zone number and the user number is in the same place and is just a number. Well, the difference is here in the custom event code names menu. In this section, you have this column here, which is a special setting for the event codes. And you can see that for some of the event codes, this is enabled. What does this mean? This is the user-related event type. So if this option is enabled, it means that the given event refers to a user and not to a zone. And in that case, when this contact ID event code is received, the adapter will replace the zone number automatically with the username and not with the zone name, because this refers to a user and not to a zone. I hope it is clear that way. Okay, and one more, we have the arming and disarming here. So if there is an arming and disarming by user, any partition, any zone, then the adapter, also this is a new event and restore, because arming is the restore and disarming is the new event. So I'm interested in both. Then the adapter will automatically send push notification about that event using the event name, which is arming or disarming, as we have seen here. My phone just keeps stopping. Okay, so okay, I just can't mirror my phone right now for some reason. It's a technical problem. Anyway, it will use the username here with this variable for this event code. And this way you can also filter any event. So for example, you can create an event for each zone. If you have an alarm system with 8 zones with 1 partition, you can filter the events for each zone separately and create messages for each event using the zone name, for example, entrance, and so on and so on. Zone 2, zone 3. So here you can name the zones of the given system, and the users will receive messages with the given zone name. So you can do this as well, but you can also use the variables. It's up to you. Here in this section, you can see the status of the device, the input status, the output status, the connection status of the receivers. Now we can see input 1 is active. That's because the system is armed, but if we disarm the system, it will turn to inactive. Okay, here you can see the cloud connection, so if it's connected or not to the cloud, the status of the modem, the number of actual connections, so it is connected to 3 IP addresses right now, which is the 2 receivers and the cloud. Now, one of the receivers is not connected because, as I have mentioned, the TCP session is closed after the communication. You can see the IP address of the SIM card. So if it has a static IP, in that case, you can use that for peer-to-peer connection. The GSM signal strength, the data type, data usage type, and the operator to which it is currently connected. Here you have some counters. You can see the actual time setting and the uptimes for the IP, the device uptime, how long it has been switched on, how long it has been connected to GSM, and the data traffic from the last restart of the device. Here you can see the simulated phone line status. So if a communication is started, in that case, the phone line turns from idle to use. And the supply voltage of the device ID, which you can copy using these icons here, the name, SIM identifier, and the firmware version. We have already seen the event monitoring. Here on the right side, you can see the reporting status. So if we create an event, it will be a fire event, then we can see that it starts reporting, starts sending push messages and reporting to the two receivers. Green means successful, so star means that the report has been sent. R means that reporting was not needed because this is a backup receiver. The system event logs and the system logs are used for detecting troubles. So if there is any problem with the device, we need these logs. These help us identify the problem. You can save these logs to file using the Start Logging button. So you can choose a file name and click on the Save button, and then the given logs will be saved, so you can send the file to us. Here in the settings section, you can change the appearance of the software. There are a couple of available templates. So you can choose the one you like. So let's go back to the default. Okay, you can change the storage capacity and time format for the logs. You can turn on extended logging for troubleshooting. This refers to the software. So if there is a problem with the software, this will create detailed logs. So will help us better to identify the problem. And these options are not used yet. With this one, you can turn on the QR code, which contains the device ID, and in that case, that will appear here if you need it for any reason. And here in the About menu, you can find the product information, the version of the software, and you can access the data folder of the software as well. Now, the last one is, let's see how we can register the mobile application. We can do that here in the mobile devices menu. Here you can see the registered devices. There is a registration password which is necessary. During the registration, you have to enter that. Now I have to share my phone up. I hope that it works now. Yeah, okay, it already works. Okay, so first we have to delete the device if we want to register it again. We can do that here in the device settings. So click on delete, yes. Okay, let's restart it. Okay, so the adapter has been deleted. And now let's read the settings from the device and delete the device here as well and write the settings back. Okay, so now there is no device registered. What we have to do, We have to read the QR code, which you can find here in this section. In this drop-down menu, you can select the slots, so 1, 2, 3, or 4. You can see that the QR code changes for each, so it's not the same QR code. Let's choose the first one, and let's read the QR code. We have to enter our name, the registration password, which is now 1, 2, 3, and 4 because we haven't changed it, and enter a device name. And click next. And it's registered. So now if we read the settings, it should be there. And there it is. With the name which we have registered. And we can already use the device. Now we can see that the output has the default setting, which is the toggle switch. So you can turn the output on and turn the output off. But of course, you can change that back to 1 second impulse usage during the device settings. I'm turning this option on. And now it's already an impulse switch. Okay, and the last one is, let's see how we can program the alarm system remotely. For this, we need the remote serial client software. This is the software which creates the bridge between the Adapter2 and our PC. So it will connect to the Adapter2 through the internet and will connect to the serial port of the Adapter2. At the same time, it will create a virtual port and will connect the serial port of the Adapter2 to this virtual serial port. In this section, you can enter the number of the serial port which you want to create. Now I will create COM6. And of course, you need the device identifier of the device to which you want to connect. This connection works through the cloud, so cloud usage should be enabled in the device. Okay, the device ID you can find here in the status monitoring menu. It's this one here, and you can copy that using this button. Okay, when we press the Create Port button, it will create the virtual serial port, and we see that the module, the remote device is online, so we are connected over the internet to the Adapter2. Now, if we start the programming software of the given alarm system, here we have an alarm control panel, is the Spectra 5500, which is this one here on my table. And for this, you have to configure the serial connection. You have to use the same communication port, which you have created with the virtual software, and the same baud rate, which the given alarm control panel uses, and which you have also configured here in the serial port settings. So these should be the same. And when this is done, just click connect, and it will connect over the internet to the alarm control panel. Okay, let's read the settings. So now it will start to read the settings automatically from the alarm control panel, which you can then change and write the changes back in the alarm control panel. Okay, we won't wait for that. So basically, that's how it works. Then you can disconnect from the alarm control panel, close the software, and only after you have closed the software, you can delete the virtual serial port, because otherwise it is in use. It is in use by the software of the alarm control panel.